your first film that I fell in love with was The Good Catholic, of course. And that was because of John C. McGinley. I've always been a John McGinley fanatic, if you will, from way back. But there is one scene in particular in that, and you'll know which one I'm talking about immediately, where he is practicing his sermon. And at the end of the scene, little spoiler for everybody, it's to the pizza boy.
Yes.
You direct your films yourself. When you give somebody of his caliber a monologue that powerful, is what he comes up with directly off the page, or do you allow him to play around with it when he's going through that scene?
So that's a very unique situation in that I didn't write that monologue until he was cast. I wrote that monologue for him to perform, and I wrote it in conjunction with him. And that's very rare. But I didn't know who we were going to get to play that role. And when he signed on, the first thing I thought was, well, we have a monologue for the young priest. We have a monologue for Danny Glover's character. And we have John McGinley, who is, talk about a guy that loves language and can turn a phrase and change tone. Talk about a guy that can play with tone. He's so good with that. And I just, when we talked on the phone the first time, I said, can I write you? I want to write you a homily. I don't even know where it's going to go. I put it in the script somewhere, but it was always something, we moved it somewhere else. I knew that it would be, we wouldn't know where it was going to actually go in the narrative, but it's the kind of thing that you can place it in different, kind of anywhere. It was a standalone. And I told him I wanted to write a monologue, and he said, okay, but can it be about compassion? And he talked about, he has a special needs child, and how he's just such a prominent figure in that community, and to kind of honor that, compassion was what he wanted this to be about, and it made sense for his character. And he told me that compassion means to suffer with. It's not pity or anything like that. And he kind of gave me that. I was like, okay, now go write something. And that night I wrote it, wrote the monologue, and it's word for word what he performed, because he's the kind of guy that, like, he doesn't mess around. He will get, like, he gets the music and he comes in ready. Send it to him, and he sent me a text back saying, I'll fucking crush that. And it was his first day, his first scene that when he arrived was that.
Wow.
And I remember he came in that night, and I was like super nervous because I was intimidated. He's an intimidating guy. And he came in, and I told him it's going to be a oneer. We're not cutting. This is like, it's going to be real simple. We're not cutting this around at all. You're doing it all in one take. And I think the one that we used, I think we did about 8 takes of the thing. And I think we used take 4. Could have used any of them. But like with someone like that, he'll try different things, and he takes direction too. So if he'll take direction if you're giving direction that's actual direction. If you're giving bullshit notes, like a lot of times first time directors will come in and feel like they've got to say something to an actor, and he won't suffer that. He will not, like, if you're coming in with a note that doesn't make sense, you just don't do it. You're not gonna do it a second time with him, that's for sure. And so I would just come up between takes, and we would just talk about pace and tone, and in like half sentences, and that was it. And he got it too. So he'd be like, oh, I think at that moment I went too far on that. What do you think? And I would say something, and that would be it. He knew what to do. He had all the tools. I was in no way. It was essentially, he knew other than him, I was the only other person that knew the material as well as he did. So I would just go in as a person with an opinion, and say, like, I thought that. He'd say, I think this. Great. and he would try a different way. And so we've got like I think 8 or 9 takes. Each one is a little different and offers you. So he doesn't repeat the same thing over and over again. Each one has like a different, there's the heavier emotional one. There's the lighter one. There's all this stuff. And once we nailed it early on, and then we kept going, and he was like, I think at this point where, I was like, I know we have it. So, and he's like, he knew he had tried all the things he wanted to try, and I knew we had it. So that was it. It was like the easiest kind of scene I had to direct, because the actor was so, I wrote it for him.
Right.
Like it was the kind of thing that like only he could do. So of course it made sense the second he started doing it, because it was written for him, and he did the work. He's so prepared. It just makes my job, it makes me look like I know what I'm doing, when really I got John C. McGinley. I know what I was doing in that I was able to get John C. McGinley in the movie. Beyond that, I let him do the work.